This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. I'm Gary Dick. Deere & Company is laying off nearly 600 workers as the farm equipment manufacturer deals with declining demand. The company confirmed Monday production positions being cut are concentrated at two factories in Iowa and one at its home base in Moline, Illinois, where 280 employees will be laid off. In a second quarter earnings release in May, Deere reported a more than 15% decline in revenue, but in Northwest Indiana news that John Deere has purchased 234 acres just northwest of Lowell for a 1.2 million square foot warehouse, a facility longer than the Sears Tower laying on its side. It could be the largest facility ever in Lake County. It's expected to employ 400 to 500 workers. The Indiana State Department of Agriculture has submitted an inventory of lost farmland to the Legislative Council. The ISDA has determined there's been an overall reduction of farmland acres of about 1.5 to 2% from 2010 to 2022. That represents a loss of about 350,000 acres. ISDA Director Don Lamb.
We know that farmland is being lost across the state, but we really don't know how much. And as a starting point, if you want to do something about it, you first have to know what reality is. So that was what the goal of this was to really come up with the reality of what the lost farmland has been.
From the state's number one source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio. Indiana, your bold future starts here. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, our Engage Indiana events take place in every region of the state. Discover when we'll be in your area at ibj.com/engage. The number of Hoosier families using an Indiana Education Scholarship is up 200% for the upcoming school year. Here's Inside Indiana Business reporter Alex Brown.
ESAs are meant to help students who require special education services. The agency said more than 50% of the $10 million appropriated for ESAs in the 2024-25 academic year has already been committed to eligible students. The program application deadline is still 2 months away on September 1st. The office said that between the last two school years, the number of K-12 students with disabilities who applied for and received ESA dollars increased by more than 200%. Provider participation also increased by more than 130% for the same time period, with more joining each week, according to the Treasurer's Office. Additionally, non-public schools educating ESA students increased by more than 350%. Accounts set up by the State Treasurer's Office provide each qualifying student with thousands of dollars for private school tuition and various other educational services from providers outside of their school district. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Vincennes University has received a nearly $735,000 grant from the Indiana Commission for Higher Education to help high school students make informed decisions about college choices and career paths. 25 restaurants and more than a dozen food trucks are scheduled to participate during this weekend's Taste of Indy Festival, an event returning for the first time since 2018. This year's edition is scheduled Saturday at White River State Park. Taste of Indy debuted in 2012. The pandemic factored into its 6-year hiatus. The 2018 edition of Taste of Indy attracted more than 18,000 attendees. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.